Hello, good evening. Welcome to Upfront. Tonight on Upfront, we explore the accusations and counter-accusations between the NPP and NDC members of Parliament over who's preventing the other from conducting Parliament of the Republic of Ghana's business. This is due to the ongoing parliamentary impasse stemming from the recent decision by Speaker Al-Bagbagben to declare 4 parliamentary seats vacant. Despite the decision of the Supreme Court, this decision has led to a debate over which side of the House, that's the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, constitutes the majority, resulting in NDC MPs today again occupying the majority side and NPP MPs expressing dissatisfaction, culminating in the indefinite adjournment of parliamentary proceedings. Now, our esteemed guest for this all-important conversation, already seated in studio with me, is lawyer and member of Parliament who is on so many important committees, standing, what they call it, Orders Committee. There's also the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, and also a bit of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament, Roxin. Oh, you're also on the Land and Forestry Commission.
Natural resources.
In all fairness, he has a lot of work in Parliament. Roxin, but he's done a lot too. He's gone to court on matters too. He used to be called the quorum guy because anytime there's an issue in Parliament, he raises quorum. Roxin, Nelson, Eche, Kwame, Dafiamekpo, NDC member of Parliament is joining us.
Dafiamekpo.
Yes. I've got it right?
Dafiamekpo.
Oh, almost there, right? Yeah. Okay, so we'll also be having in this conversation the ranking member on the Subsidiary Legislation Committee in Parliament, who is in the person of the Asante Achim North MP, and the Kwame Apiakubi. And later on, we will get somebody who will seek to broker peace. A dispute resolution expert, Austin Game himself, a former minister and a former member of Parliament, joining this all-important conversation on how to end the current problem in the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, a house that was recently called for an emergency sitting, only for it to be adjourned indefinitely because majority MPs refused or failed to show up. They have reasons they've been exploring. They think there's chaos in the House. They think their colleagues on the other side are refusing to let it happen. We'll explore the legal, the procedural, and the political ramifications of the Speaker's actions, the seating arrangement debate, and the broader implications for governance and parliamentary order in the Republic of Ghana. Let's not get it wrong. Let's situate it in the bigger context. The most recent Afrobarometer results says that the trust of the people in Parliament is also at an all-time low, including members of Parliament. And also when it comes to other institutions of state, what will this Parliament do differently? Can they get over this? Can they act in the collective interest of the people of this republic? Let me first start the conversation with Honorable Nelson Dafiamekpo. I hope you get the point here. I want you to look in the face of your constituents and explain to them why they called you for an emergency sitting today, and yet the House got adjourned indefinitely.
Thank you very much. Good evening to your viewers, especially my people in Southern Peki, Palik, Pevetongo. Now, I disagree with you when you make the point that we were unable to sit today. We did sit.
You conducted parliamentary business?
Yes. However brief it was.
I see.
Yes.
So,
we sat.
Which bill did you pass today?
Hold on. So we sat. There was a commencement. And so I together with my colleagues of the NDC caucus, now the majority caucus, we represented respectively various constituencies. The problem for Speaker, after prayers were said, was that contrary to Order 91, Rule 2 of our standing orders, and contrary to Order 216, Rule 2 of our standing orders, as well as Order 67 of our standing orders, the Business Committee, which ought to have met and scheduled in terms of rank the priority of business to consider today, and if possible tomorrow or the day after that, depending on how heavy the business before us for this recall is, failed to convene. And in that failure lies the fact that, one, we couldn't produce business statement for this meeting, and two, for this sitting, and two, we couldn't produce an order paper for today's sitting. And faced with this handicap, Speaker had no choice than to, again, adjourn the House sine die. So I believe that you, the media, should be focusing on the government, especially the party in government. The people have entrusted the exercise of executive powers of states in the hands of the NPP to, as it were, bring government business to Parliament for approval. So governance, matters of state, affairs of state can be oiled properly and smoothly. If because of pettiness, if because of ego trips, they are unable to come to Parliament to have these businesses properly executed, you should be asking them questions. And here is why.
I'll come to that.
No,
okay, you're still explaining. All right.
Yes, and here's why. All these matters in Parliament, all these same difficulties and perceived difficulties arose because of some indiscipline within the ranks of the NPP.
Oh, you're blaming them, right?
Yes. Indiscipline.
But you occupy their seats.
Hold on.
I mean, if you're not on their seats.
No, hold on. Ray, let me.
They think if you are just gotten up and gone to your seat.
Ray, can we do this? Indiscipline arising out of the fact that two of their sitting members of Parliament have broken ranks and are presently contesting their respective constituencies as an independent candidate.
True.
Then an independent member of Parliament who doubles also as the second deputy speaker of Parliament. Which member they themselves expelled 4 years ago for similar conduct had come to join them. So he no longer associates with them in terms of business on the floor. He's now come to join the NPP properly. And by that, it's now being sponsored as their parliamentary candidate in Formina. And these conducts have led to activation of Article 71, 97(1) and H and G and H of the Constitution. Okay. Now, as a result of that, Speaker made certain pronouncements as a consequence of these conducts. So it is this conduct that has generated
Except, again, you have left out Peter Yaw-Kwatiaka.
As for Peter Yaw-Kwatiaka, we are not belaboring that point. He's a gunner. He's no longer a member of the NDC by his conduct.
You agree.
So nobody argues. NDC is not fighting.
It's not a sign of misconduct.
It is.
Okay.
Once it's gone, he's a gunner. So we have a different candidate for that constituency. So NDC is not contesting Speaker why he has expelled Yaw-Kwatiaka. We are not doing that.
Okay.
Because we agree with him that if by such conduct, the constitutional provision in 97(1) G must kick in. So that is what we have done. Now, let's get to the meat of this matter. You recall that when Speaker adjourned Parliament sometime on 30th July this year, sine die, we had a lot of businesses to do.
True.
Again, the party that is in government and has a leader of government business in Parliament failed to prosecute some of these matters expeditiously. So they were in abeyance. But Parliament's term, the term has come to an end. So Speaker had no choice than to adjourn the House sine die. The next day, they wrote a stinker to the Speaker. And by way of that, recalling Parliament. Speaker considered it and recalled Parliament appropriately. We came back on the 4th of September 2024.
True.
What happened? For that recall, the Business Committee pursuant to the standing provisions are quoted copiously, met and considered business for that sitting in terms of priority. They produce what we call the business statement for that meeting. And in that business statement, they indicated on which days and which businesses will deal with. This is the evidence. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was signed by Afenyo Makin, Alexander Kwame Afenyo Makin, the majority leader at the time. So, upon the commencement of proceedings, the business statement will be taken. It will be read. Members will have opportunity to make comments. They will be adopted. They will be taken into consideration, and Speaker will adopt the business statement subject to the adoption of those other comments. It is then that the House is properly constituted to go into matters. Today, he failed to do that.
What you're saying is that business committee did not sit.
Exactly.
But they were supposed to meet yesterday?
But I'm not a member.
Okay, so whichever they were supposed to meet.
Yes.
But they didn't meet.
Because I'm telling you that the last recall that they did, and Speaker responded, and we convened for that purpose. On the 4th day of September, a business statement was prepared. Other papers were produced for purposes of guiding the House as to which order of which businesses should be taken and in which order.
True.
Today he failed to do that. And instead of coming to the House to deal with your business, you are standing on the staircase of Parliament and you are granting interviews.
So do you know why that did not happen?
I don't know.
Because it's not just a market issue. It's the team meeting. Because
but he's the chairman. He's the chairman of the business committee. I've just shown you his signature.
I get the point.
Yes.
Are you saying that the rest of the people were available for a meeting and he didn't show up?
Right. The committees of Parliament are bipartisan. They are constituted by members from both sides.
I'm not disputing that.
Yes, and we were ready.
My question is that...
You see, I want you to get a point.
You say that he convinced them.
He convinced the meeting.
Did he invite them and nobody showed up?
I believe if he had invited them, would have had a copy of business statement for today.
So, in and of itself, without a business statement, would you have still been able to sit?
You will sit. Speaker, so we sat.
Okay.
That's what I'm demonstrating.
I get your
that
point.
Speaker sat. But Speaker had no business statement, had no order paper to guide him.
When you don't have both the order paper and the business statement, what do you do?
Normally, if there are indications that they were being prepared, but they were not ready, we'll suspend for like an hour for the order paper and the business statement. You know, these are clerical administrative matters.
That's true.
So they would have been hurriedly put together and made ready for members. Okay. So when we return from suspension, then the matters are gone into. According to Speaker, there was no indication
that there will be a meeting, that there will be producing the business.
No, there was no indication that
the order paper
and the nature of business
will be made.
Then you go and hold a press conference and say that in your memo for a recall, you have detailed the businesses to be done, to be considered. So that was sufficient for Speaker to proceed with business. But you were not on the floor.
Is that in tandem with standing orders of the...
At all. In any case, your memo containing the issues that I think we should consider as part of this emergency recall, they have to be prioritized. Which one will be taken first and in which order? It is the order paper. That's why it's called order paper. Order paper tells you which item is first, which item is second, which motion comes after which one.
Is the absence of these two documents too egregious that Parliament cannot sit without them?
Yes. Because they are procedural. You must have records. And they are, you see, every committee and its mandate.
And forgive me.
My committee, Subsidiary Legislation Committee, we could not be meeting to produce a business. I
understand you perfectly.
Yes.
I want you to point out to me the specific standing order that says you cannot meet without a order paper or the other document you referenced.
If you read Standing Order 216.2.
What does it say? It
says that the business committee, chaired by the leader of government business, or the majority leader, meets and considers business for a sitting of Parliament. Mine is that. what would you meet and consider?
I get you, but that's a positive statement.
Yes, but I'm saying
anyway it says
yes. I'm saying that is why by convention, the House will suspend, because it's like an agenda. If you don't have an agenda, what are you going to discuss at the meeting?
The other question I wanted to ask is, why didn't the Speaker suspend, but rather go for the tough words of adjourned synod?
No, upon whose stipulation? The person who will be guiding Speaker. Speaker is guided. Speaker has no vote. He has very little say. He doesn't participate in debates. So it's leadership that will guide Speaker. You and your troops, you've gone to commandeer them and you are giving press conferences instead of being on the floor and guiding Speaker to handle your own business. And let me tell you how they are abusing this process. In their memo for recall on 31st of July, which recall was fixed for 4th of September, the items that they listed as being important for our consideration included the Social Protection Bill, the University of Local Governance and Development Bill, Environmental Protection Bill, Ghana Boundary Commission Bill, Ghana Industrial Property Office Bill, National Petroleum Authority Bill, Rent Bill, Budget Bill, Interstate Succession Bill, the 250 million GFSP loan, the 250 million ESRP loan, and some other matters. All these were part of the earlier recall.
Yeah.
When we came on September 4th, as soon as one of the 250 million loans was approved, then they adopted a different attitude. The next day, they walked out. That is how come Speaker lacked a decisional quorum and we adjourned.
I see. Now
you understand. Then you came back again on sometime this month or last month. That's on the 22nd of October with another memo for a recall. In that memo, listen to the things that they listed as being of urgent nature for consideration.
If you could run through it quickly.
Yes, I'll run through quickly.
Yeah.
Now, a request for tax exemptions, which was also contained in the earlier one, Ghana Fiscal Security Fund, which is the 250 million loan, Environmental Protection Agency Bill, Social Protection Bill, Customs Amendment Bill, the Budget Bill, Ghana Boundary Commission Bill, Interstate Succession Bill, essentially same things, which they failed to sit in the House to prosecute. They walked out on their own business. Now, how can you take this party serious?
I need to bring in Honorable Andy Kwame Apiakubi, who, again, you should note, he's ranking on the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. You're no longer ranking on subsidiary. You moved to the Foreign Affairs Committee.
That's correct.
Brilliant. But are you still a member of the Standing Orders Committee?
Not the Standing Orders Committee. Oh, yes, on
Standing Orders Committee. Yes. All right. Now,
member of the Subsidiary Legislation.
Okay. Now, I need to understand how this works perfectly. You call Parliament, and yet you don't show up to sit.
You see,
as majority MPs.
Yes, I'll come back to this question, but generally, I don't like the spectacle that we're showing to the public. Indeed, I would have thought that Ghanaians will have to show disapproval for what is happening. We are behaving like we don't have any serious business before us. And I'm not saying...
As in Parliament.
As in Parliament.
Yeah.
We must behave maturely. In fact, the way we are going about our things, I'm sure the people in Ghana, they are all not too happy with us.
At least according to the Afrobarometer, they are really disapproving of you.
Total disappointment if you check the mood of the public. And indeed, we are not behaving well at all. Are we behaving honorably at all? Indeed, for me, what caused all this? I mean, is it a case that sitting here, sitting there is too important than conducting the business of Ghana? Ghana as an enterprise requires management of personnel.
True.
And we are all doing this to hurt all ourselves. Either way, nobody wins. Indeed, if my party wins and comes back to power, most of these bills, if we don't take them now, we cannot. They will not survive the next to the next parliament. We have to start all over again. I mean, what kind of waste is this? And how do we justify this conduct?
But I didn't show up in Parliament either.
Who didn't show up?
You.
Today?
Yes. Did you sit?
I did. But you see, I went there. In fact, I had traveled all the way from my constituency this morning.
Oh, from the Ashanti region?
Yes, this morning, because I'm on my campaign. So I drove straight to the grounds because I was late, so I thought that there was supposed to have been a caucus meeting. Mm-hmm. Well, I was late, so I just drove there, only to find out that my side, there was nobody there. So,
but you were pre-informed that you not be sitting? Because you didn't show up.
No.
You are saying that you were not pre-informed?
We were supposed to have gone to caucus,
yes,
and then come out of caucus into Parliament.
Okay. All right.
But because I knew I was late for caucus, coming from Ashanti, I drove straight to Parliament.
Oh, that's why I didn't get to hear that
yes,
you're not
I didn't
sitting.
get to hear that we're not sitting. So I'm not privy to the discussions in caucus today.
Do you support your decision, as you are in the majority, so it's your decision, to hook or crook sit on the majority side, or you not appear in Parliament at all?
No, first and foremost, let's call a spade a spade. In fact, the interpretation being given to 97.1G to very weird. And
which interpretation?
I'm not interpretation of vacation of a member.
Okay.
Indeed.
Are you talking about the Okwe interpretation?
Okwe interpretation was very wrong.
It was wrong.
And it is equally wrong this time also.
Okay.
But to me, why are we just playing politics around this constitutional provision? It is very unnecessary. And it has happened in subsequent times, even prior to Okwe's ruling. Mm-hmm. And if Okwe was wrong, does it mean that we have to repeat what is wrong? I don't think so. And let us not take Ghanaians for granted. So I am very disappointed at the spectacle that we are seeing. We need to consider the enterprise Ghana first. What is it that would be in the interest of the country that we need to pursue? And for us, we are behaving as school children who are fighting over seats or fighting over sides of the teacher. These things are not necessary.
But do you tell your colleagues these things?
No, I tell everybody. I don't have to. In fact, I'm very disappointed in the total behavior of Parliament. I'm very disappointed. And I'm wondering, could it have been better? Why this? You understand? So we call ourselves honorable. What we are doing is honorable enough. And when we go to Parliament, we leave, instead of conducting business, this one is saying that, this one is saying that. I'm indicting the whole house, both sides. And I'm
are you willing to sit on the minority side?
I'm disappointed. If we vote and we come out to be minority, people have sat on the minority side before. Mm-hmm. In fact, my colleagues who were in the 5th Parliament and 6th Parliament, they were in a minority, they sat there. What changed? We come to this majority side because we are in a majority. And being in a majority is by way of numbers.
True. And
indeed, if you look at the Constitution, and if you read the 97, particularly read from the beginning of 97.1, you say in Parliament, in Parliament, there. If you change whilst you are there, it's not futuristic. So this one, we shouldn't even waste too much time. I'm telling you that I was so disappointed with the ruling of Professor Okwe, and I have always condemned it. But that doesn't mean that we have to continue to be belaboring the point. So we are fast past that. If today, members of Parliament tender their resignation and the numbers reduce, I will agree that, well, if our numbers have gone down, let's go to the other side because we are in a minority. But you don't attempt to create a minority situation by way of interpretation. And I think that is wrong. But again, is that what Ghanaians want to see of us? So me personally,
is this too difficult for you to resolve among yourselves? Because
yes,
you are making it look like
exactly the question.
We have to sit you down and tell you what.
Exactly the question I want to ask. Is it too difficult for grown-ups like us to sit down and say this is unnecessary? Let's continue with the work of Parliament to please Ghanaians, not to please ourselves as partisan persons.
Oh no, Madam, that's the question I really am interested in your answer to.
I am not interested in the debate of who sits here, who sits there, or who does this, who hasn't done this, who hasn't done that. No, I'm not interested.
But with respect, that's why you're not sitting. That's why you didn't show up.
I am telling all of us that we are not behaving well. We are not being honorable as we call ourselves. If we can resolve this small matter.
Honorable Daverepo,
Yes.
why are you...
Let's Ray.
Yes.
I will urge my senior, he was a year ahead of me, we do this with less emotion.
Oh, I'm not being emotional.
No.
I'm not being emotional.
With less emotion.
No.
Okay.
Look.
Okay. Look. So he says he's not being emotional.
Okay. Dispassionately.
Yeah.
I substitute that with dispassionately.
True.
Look, it is only in Parliament that the Constitution mandates parliamentary political parties to sponsor people. So you must understand certain things. There are certain ethos behind each of the organs. It is not so with the judiciary. Even the executive, you can have a president on a ticket of a party. He can appoint ministers who may not be his party members. Mm-hmm. But in Parliament, we do what we call partisan politics. That's what we do in Parliament. That is why arrangements in Parliament, sitting arrangements, are done on partisan caucus lines. So when you tell me that we are behaving like school children,
yes,
with all due respect, it is not.
You disagree?
I disagree.
That you are not conducting the business.
Hold on.
That you are being appointed to go and
hold on. Who is responsible for handling that? Focus on your party. Your party has been given the mandate by the people of Ghana to lead government business. You are toying with it. And you come and tell me that I should be blamed. Your own budget, you walk away from the budget. When we passed it, you know some of these problems, they generated it. When they walked away from their own budget, we passed it. They came to challenge the fact that we didn't have the quorum to pass, to disapprove of the budget. In fact, we actually disapproved of the budget.
Yeah.
Rejected it. They came back and challenged that we didn't have the numbers. And somebody went to court, and the Supreme Court had to now make a distinction between a commencement quorum and a decisional quorum. Article 1
has always been there.
And Article 104. But it was litigated. It was that act that led to the Supreme Court litigation, Abdullah versus Attorney General.
I was in court also.
Now.
But what was very unnecessary?
Oh, please. It is necessary because you contested it. During the beginning of the life of this parliament, on the morning of 7th January 2021, we fought over sitting arrangements because the House had been split into equal halves. 20 women on each side. The rest men on each side, 137, 137. So the NDC, we decided that, okay, we came first, so we sat at the right side of speaker. You disagreed. And it led to a lot of stalemate. Eventually, I'm tracing the roots of some of these matters. Eventually, it took the independent member for Fomina to write a formal letter to speaker to say that he will associate with the MPP caucus in parliament. That decision tilted the balance of power in parliament in favor of the MPP. What did they do? They then went ahead to elect a majority leader or to appoint a majority leader because they had been declared the majority group. By virtue, not by numerical strength or additional numerical strength, by the mere fact that an independent member says, I will associate with them on the floor in doing business. So Speaker ruled that by that fact, you are now majority. So all the benefits that went with being a majority, you got it. So what is happening? It's not whimsical. It's about power play. So if by some indiscipline within your ranks, your numbers have been dwindled, and the NDC group in parliament now is the majority group, you think we will not resist any attempt to reduce our numbers? We will.
Is this enough to hold parliament ransom?
So it is the group that has been, it's the group whose position has changed to accept it,
you see,
and conduct government business in the manner that they are supposed to. I have demonstrated to you that.
Give me a second. I think he wanted to respond to that.
All right.
Oh, but
Before
allow
you
him
see,
to
No,
speak.
sorry.
you have
No,
been
honorable, let him complete. I thought he was opening some page.
Yes.
I want to hear what he
I
has
have
to say on that
demonstrated to you
Yeah.
that they have been toying with businesses of states. This order paper is dated.
Is it the 4th of or July 1?
No, this order paper is dated Tuesday, 22nd October. Do you know what happened on Tuesday, 22nd October?
I have no idea.
They walked out of Parliament. They walked out. This order paper contained businesses like Ghana Boundary Commission Bill, Social Protection Bill, Environmental Protection Bill, Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill, Ghana Boundary, all that.
And why did they walk out?
Ask them.
But there was a reason.
I don't know. Ask them. It was because they walked out. That's why Speaker declared that he lacked a decisional quorum.
Okay.
So he adjourned the House sine die. We had business to do. They had recorded us. We had business to do.
But again, I'm not hearing honorable appeal.
Hold on.
Say.
And let me say.
All right.
The next day, you know, in the order paper, you have a provisional order for business for even the next day.
All right.
The next day, we had businesses like Pre-Tertiary Education Amendment Bill, Free Secondary Education Bill, that's the Free SHS Bill. They walked away from their own bill. This one, they walked away from it. Ghana Book Development Council Bill, they walked away from it. University of Sports for Development, Botema, they walked away from it. Ghana Charter Institute of Procurement and Supply, they walked away from it. Colleges of Applied Science and Technology, they walked away from it. All these universities they intend to establish, you abandon your business. And yet you will bring us back for us to consider similar things. You won't show up. And you come and sit here and say that I am behaving like a schoolboy.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get this straight.
You see?
Honorable Apiakobi.
Yes.
It still comes back to you as government people who should actually lead government business.
Yes.
Why are you not the one showing,
see,
if indeed you think that this is not an adult-like behavior,
yes,
why not the one behaving like the adults and getting to resolve this matter?
All right. First and foremost,
Yeah.
when we were talking about the numbers, how the majority, we emerge as majority and others emerge as minority, there was a declaration by a member to associate with one group so that by their calculations, we got 138 against 137. That's how come we were able to create the majority and the minority. In this particular instance, have we seen anybody resign from a party or a position into joining another in the House? In the House. If you look at Article 97, it talks about business in the House. So have you seen anybody
It does not.
filing
It doesn't.
notice that, and let me
Okay,
read
sorry.
97:1, a person,
You want me to read
a
that?
member of parliament, yeah,
Okay. Tenure of office of members. A member of parliament shall vacate his seat in
parliament. In
That's
parliament.
971.
But the members, where is it? Is it not in Parliament?
wait.
Give me a second.
I'm only confirming.
I'm only saying that he should be allowed to make the point.
He is making it.
And you go to G, and G repeats in parliament.
In fact, G says if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to parliament to join another party, or seeks to remain in parliament, as an independent member.
Yes, so the matter is in parliament. If at the time that you're in parliament, you cease or you move in that parliament, then you would have vacated your vote.
Except that,
And
gentlemen,
it comes to
this
the point
matter
that
is before the Supreme Court.
You make a declaration that I am moving here or there. Then we count the numbers. And it is not futuristic that I express an intention to do so in 4 years, in 1 year, in 6 months.
Honorable, I do not intend a real litigation of this matter, which is already before the Supreme Court.
No, yes, I agree, but I see that
But I'm
all
saying,
this
even though the
is
matter is
very
before the
unnecessary.
Supreme Court, why are you members of parliament unable, groups that reach consensus on many things,
I heard,
unable to reach consensus on this matter?
I heard the Council of State came to Parliament
True.
to meet with the leadership of Parliament. So even with Council of State acting as arbiters, we still cannot resolve this.
Which Council of State acting as arbiters?
As in, Council of State indeed made a speaker.
Do you know the people? Do you know the members of?
I
the
don't like this interjection. Keep quiet. Let me speak.
Oh, why?
Honorable Royston.
Why? But you asked me.
Sorry.
But don't ever ask me to keep quiet like that. Don't do that.
Sorry, forgive me.
If you give me opportunity, I will.
Give me a second. Honorable Apiakubi, you are making the point about the involvement of the Council of State.
Yes, did we even have to go to that point? But again, granted that we found ourselves in that terrible situation, and the whole Council of State comes to Parliament, say, hey, can we sit? Can we discuss matters? Can we resolve these issues? We can still not resolve this simple matter between two political parties being in politics for years, with the Council of State, whole Council of State acting as arbiters. We still cannot resolve this little matter.
From your perspective, what is holding Parliament back? What is holding you political parties back?
I think we are too partisan for comfort, all of us. We are not thinking of the state. We are not thinking of the country. So any little thing involves political sentiments. And we are too divided sharply on trivialities in politics. Is it that after the election, we still carry the spirit of election into the House? No, we must be thinking that when we group in the Parliament, we have an objective.
Is it just because we are barely a month to election?
No, I am always like this. We need to grow more statesmen than partisan politicians. People are too interested in their political leaders. Even in the House, when we have business of Ghana in the House, we are still thinking partisanship.
If you were belonging to the NDC, well, just to make this point.
Yes.
If you're not in government.
Yes.
If you're not an MPP MP.
Yes. I think that we must rather focus on growing more statesmen in Ghanaian politics. People who will think of the country more than thinking of their partisanship. Because my brother is here, I'm also here. If he does something good, you see, once I told you that I loved Professor Mills for his bold statement on LGBTQ, and I always praise him. He did that for Ghana. For me, I don't see him as a NDC president. He is a Ghanaian president who did so well on that subject matter, and I always give the credit to him.
I'll come back to you. Honorable Nelson Roxin.
Yes. Yes.
You are trying to make a point about what the Council of State came to do when it met the Speaker. If our Speaker's office issued a statement about engaging on it and briefing them on what has happened.
Is it the suggestion of my senior that Council of State should arbitrate this matter?
No, I said that.
Is it the suggestion? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, because there was no indication in their statement they came to do any arbitration.
No. But I'm saying
I am saying
it was even unnecessary.
Oh, it says unnecessary.
I thought that we shouldn't even have gotten there.
Okay.
But granted that we were there.
Whether you want Council of State to be arbitrators in this matter.
Yeah, but what did they come to do?
Okay.
All
so
right.
if you agree, then now let me make my point. One, did you realize the people from Council of State who came to Parliament?
The chairman.
Yes. Did you realize who they are?
Mr. Kujeto.
Samuel Kujeto. Do
Yes,
you know
the
who
lawyer.
he is? Do you know who he is within MPP circles?
He's a lawyer.
I'm saying, do you know who he is within MPP circles?
I don't know his
He's a member of the Council of State.
Thank you.
Okay.
And he came there.
I am saying.
No, within MPP circles, I'm unsure whether he has supposed to.
Find out who he is within MPP.
So
if MPP is in distress in Parliament, you think he will be able to arbitrate this matter?
No, hold on.
I am saying even the members of Council of State who came, they're all MPP people.
But there's a chief involved.
But who says?
Chief.
Who says? I am saying that the people, even the Council of State who came, find out their allegiance to MPP. So this matter is purely politics. The MPP is refusing to accept its place.
So who in Ghana is not aligned to one political party or the other? Are we saying that nobody in Ghana can think Ghana?
I thought you said that Parliament we are too partisan.
Yes, that's
so
what
if you agree that everybody is
but
politically...
will you call me too partisan? Will you call me too partisan?
I'll call you too partisan because the day you champion the removal... The day you champion...
Let him make his point, yes.
I thought he was saying that I should shut up.
No, we have moved that point.
The day he championed the removal of the finance minister,
yes,
and we join him,
You didn't join me.
We join you. We join you on the floor. He's chicken out. He's chicken out. No, we join him. He moved the motion. He's chicken out. He failed to vote in support of the motion. So the motion.
That's unrelated to what
it is. It tells you tells you that.
Let's state the facts.
Hold on. Yes, I'm stating
that he should be removed by the president or should resign.
I am saying
he didn't say he wanted a session to parliament.
But if parliament can get him removed, is that not easier?
In any case, the whole idea of censorship was to bring a motion to parliament praying the president to remove him. We had already done that.
You had gone to him and asked.
We had gone to him, so we already expected him to perform.
I think that was
so what was
it wasn't. It wasn't. When we pushed him, he said it's only a dead man who doesn't change his mind.
No.
He said you change your mind.
He changed his mind.
Listen to me.
He changed his mind.
At the point where the president explained that because of where we are, we need to give him some time.
Okay.
And that when he finishes this, he will do this. So at that point, why would you take a position and want to maintain that position? Although there are more cogent arguments suggesting that you must agree.
So partisan considerations weigh heavily on your decision.
It was the president speaking.
And not is the president not part of your party?
So who is not partisan?
Thank you.
Okay.
Exactly my point in parliament.
Honorable Dr. The question is asking.
Yes.
I think we should not stray.
Yes. We are
I
not
think we should not digress.
We are not straying. We are placing matters in contest.
Yeah, yes, but your example sought to, lead
us. Everybody as this or that.
No, but I don't have a problem with
but I'm saying that the point I'm making is that hold on. I'm
asking, how do you come to the table and do the work we have elected you to go?
So I am saying that if there's a problem between NDC and NPP in parliament, you send lawyer Samuel Jeto to come and solve the problem.
So
he can't.
So who is not?
Is politically tainted.
Look, relax.
You understand? So I'm saying that he's such a heavyweight within the NPP. So you don't send him to come and resolve matters between us and the NPP.
So did you expect him to
understand? Why didn't you send the clergy?
No. So who would have been a better person to help resolve the problem?
That is why we think that this matter is not determinable by the judiciary. It's a political problem which you need political solution.
It's not determinable by the judiciary.
You
are sitting in the majority.
Yes, but we are sitting in the majority.
The Supreme Court asked you to stay.
Hold on. The Supreme Court hasn't told me to stay anything. Speaker made a declaration. Some things will immediately kick into effect. So,
as a consequence of the Speaker's declaration.
Good. So if
that declaration is stayed, does not affect the things that were.
No, it's not the declaration that is stayed. The declaration has been made. So the consequence of those declarations will have to be reversed. That is how you give effect to the stay order. And it is Parliament that must make that decision.
Really?
Yes.
Not automatically?
No.
Really?
No.
Which rule of the court is this?
Because that's how Parliament decides. The Speaker doesn't decide for Parliament. Speaker doesn't make decisions for Parliament.
You're saying that if the court says stay,
yes,
it's not automatic.
It is not automatic. Parliament must take steps to give effect to that.
By moving to your original seat?
Yes, we must pass a resolution.
Really?
Yes. So how would you give effect to that stay?
Sorry,
what is to be stay?
Educate me.
I'm educating you. Yes, I'm educating you. I'm educating you.
I'm saying educate me. Let the education be grounded in your standing order so that we all be on the same page.
Not always. The standing order says Parliament makes decisions by resolutions.
Yeah.
And to pass a resolution, you must vote. Who will vote? Is the 275 who vote? Speaker doesn't vote.
You occupying the majority seat, was it through a resolution?
Of course, it's the effect of what the Speaker said.
Was it through a resolution?
No, it is true what Speaker said. And we are already sitting there.
And so reversing that would rather require a resolution.
No, because we are sitting there. So if anything has to be stayed, you see, the stay order, the order didn't say they are reversing Speaker's pronouncement. They said they are staying its effect.
True.
If you are staying the effect, Parliament must take steps to take decisions to give effect to that. So until we get the quorum to make that decision, the status quo ante will remain. And the status quo ante before the stay order was granted was that the NDC sits at the majority side. In fact, That is their own affidavit before the Supreme Court. Go and read paragraph 8, subparagraph 3, 4, and 5 of Appendix marking the applicant's application before the court. It says that my party has now been rendered a minority party, and the minority party has now been rendered a majority party, and the balance of power in parliament has tilted in favor of the new majority party. And that, if the Supreme Court does not reverse that by their order, the majority party will make the country ungovernable. The party in government, the NPP, will become unpopular in an election year. Read the affidavit. And that the new majority party, the majority caucus, will be holding numerous inquiries into the dealings of government. It will lead to chaos. These are the things he deposed to before the court.
Honorable Kwame Piakobi, do you agree with this? We require a resolution to move to the minority side.
At all, because I want to read Article 2 of the Constitution. When Supreme Court speaks, it doesn't need any process. You must obey. And let me...
Maybe for those of you in Parliament.
Yes, Supreme Court's decision is binding on all of us. And I think it's...
Sorry, you want Article 2? Should I read you Article 2?
Article 2, Clause 3.
Okay.
Any person or group of persons to whom an order or direction is addressed under Clause 2 of this article by the Supreme Court shall duly obey and carry out the terms of the order or direction.
Good.
Shall duly obey.
In this case, this person is what? Parliament or Speaker?
Good. Raymond.
Whoever.
Raymond. He uses the...
But let me...
But you've read the provision.
Can you let him explain his part so that you react to it? No problem.
You see, so when the Supreme Court speaks to whoever and it gives the direction or judgment or whatever, you are duly bound by that and you have to obey. And if you go further, if you refuse to obey, and the Supreme Court and the Constitution cites the example of a president and a vice president who would have refused to obey the orders of the Supreme Court, the consequences thereof. And therefore, you don't need any further process to trigger the effect of the ruling or direction.
Okay. Is that why you expected them to be moving to the other side when you come?
But in any case, for me personally, and this is for my person, I would have thought that to precede any further orders, we would have gone for interpretation to educate all of us the meaning of 97, 1G, and F. Mm-hmm. Then consequentially come out with the directions or the orders.
True.
I would have done that. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Supreme Court is Supreme Court. It is the only court that will not be bound by its own decision. Supreme Court is a court that can change its mind on any subject matter. And Supreme Court is a court that can give practice direction. Whatever Supreme Court does becomes direction for us into the future. Mm-hmm. So you will not say that, oh, as I have known the Supreme Court, this would have been the procedure or direction. But Supreme Court is a court that does something new and it becomes the order of the day.
Gentlemen, give me a second. Sorry, Honorable, I just need you quickly to come in.
Yes.
I should be wrapping up with, but I should have Austin Game join for a bit of a brief talk on this. But please, your point.
Okay. He read the constitutional provision in respect of having regard to Supreme Court orders and rulings.
Yeah.
Did he find in that phrase duly obeyed?
Oh, is it not?
Yeah.
Yes, that is due process.
Oh,
that is
so
due
that's
process.
how you interpret that?
Yes, that's due process. How does Parliament made up of 275 members obey a Supreme Court order?
Words into law, which is not part of the law.
What are you talking about? This is a constitution.
I need to bring in the government now.
So I'm saying that the stay order is directed at Speaker. What is Speaker to stay? Speaker doesn't act. He has no role. So the people who have a role to play are the members of Parliament who will be making that decision. And I'm saying that decision...
Who will be making that decision?
Yes. Would you give effect to the
Supreme Court?
So what are you saying?
I will come back to...
What exactly are you saying?
That is your understanding of the law.
I think you might differ in understanding of or appreciation of what's supposed to be. But let me bring in Austin Game now. Forgive me, I seem to have kept you on for a while. you have competence in resolution of disputes. How can this be resolved?
Thank you, Raymond, and greetings to my friends with your honorable colleagues who are there. If you can hear me well, Raymond.
Our senior.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Raymond, I knew this will become a bit toxic in this country. So I took steps. I wrote formally to the speaker, delivered it myself. I wrote and copied both to the two leaders. And I prayed them that I can help them. This is not an arbitrable issue. Anyone who attempted to conduct arbitration will fail because arbitration will result in having a winner and a loser. And Supreme Court can give its ruling. It can be disobeyed, even though it may be described as wrong. The point is that several rulings in this country, in many cases, have been done by Supreme Court and has never been obeyed, just like Boku. So this matter is a matter for either they themselves, going by their own procedures in the House, especially because, like my brother, Honorable Andy Apiakubi said, and also even Dapamokpo, they have to be, the purpose of Parliament is to be business-like about the work of the state, to determine priorities of the state and help in an orderly manner to, have a debate on the issues and vote on the issues. These are the businesses that we are supposed to be conducting in Parliament. Unfortunately, because of where they find themselves, it's only somebody with a mediating mind that can assist them to resolve it. I knew they would come to this state, and I was about to leave the country for Dubai recently. I wrote and told them, if it becomes necessary, I'll spend Monday not more than 1.5 hours with minority, 1.5 hours with the majority, whichever way they think it is, and then I'll meet the two sides together with the speaker. And within 90 minutes, we should be able to resolve this matter. They have the capacity to listen and have these matters resolved. But I think that maybe a little bit of self, whatever ego it is, whatever that they are holding on to, the extreme partisan consideration, and unfortunately, everyone else has jumped into the matter with positional approach. I am not going to take position on these matters. I've been in Parliament for 2 terms. I understand the jargons in Parliament. I know what the rules are about. The rules are very critical. Rules and procedures of any parliament across the globe is very critical. Parliament should not submit itself to the law courts unnecessarily. They are supposed to be honorable people. They have the capacity to listen. And I guarantee you, by God's grace, we can sit with them and use the process. Within some hours, this matter can be resolved. They can go on like this with all manner of statesmen. They need a mediator.
I understand you. Thank you so much for joining us. And gentlemen, let's wrap up. Now, I'm told that Speaker may be cited for contempt. That's what Katie Amon is saying. So in the next 1 minute, I want you to react to that. Then I'll take final 1 minute, sir, because my time is up.
Now, if you are capable of citing Speaker in contempt of, let's say, the court, why are you holding press conferences? If you think that the solution lies in filing another application to bring contempt proceedings against Speaker, why didn't you come to the floor to deal with the issues while you record us? So you see, they are just playing with words. They don't mean anything. They don't mean any business. They are just taking everyone for granted. And they said that they are going to initiate another recall. And I know they will do it. So it's an abuse of the parliamentary process.
Thank you.
For political gains. And I want to say this.
10 seconds.
Yes, and I want to say this. That this problem, the NDC will not yield today, will not yield tomorrow.
That doesn't sound like a conciliatory position.
Well, we should be conciliatory with the people.
Have you finished?
Who are hounding us.
Thank you.
We won't do it.
Honorable Dapamokpo.
Yes.
Yes, Honorable Apiakobi, yes.
I don't think that this intention is necessary. It is his mind. He thinks that if
you mean the
if he had
contempt one?
Yes, if he was placed in the position of counsel, he would have suggested that we cite Speaker for contempt. But don't forget that application for contempt is invoking the power of the court to deal with a contempt law, which is a quasi-criminal matter,
True.
and that the proof thereof should be beyond reasonable doubt. It's a very difficult.
But it can also be ex facie curia.
Well, especially in all of that, you must prove beyond reasonable doubt.
And these are not happening as far as
You see, so what I don't think that's the right way to go, though, is his prescription. But for me, I think all this hula baloo, it is very unnecessary. I don't agree with my brother who says that it can never be resolved. No, I don't agree with him. We should show statesmanship. We should show that we are matured. We should show that we are honorable. And come to think of it, bring the two leaders together, and engage Speaker, and let's bring a resolution.
You go and install Speaker and say,
please.
Thank you so much for joining me.
I think that we should be thinking of Ghana as individuals, as groups, and even as Parliament, as an institution, more than thinking of ourselves and our political party.
Tell Apenyo to come and...
That's when we end today's edition of Upfront. Many thanks to you, honorable gentlemen, for joining us, and many thanks to you too, Austin Game.